Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soulful Sessions with Rory, the podcast where we dive deep into the matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. And I'm your host, Rory, and I'm thrilled to embark on this soulful journey with each and every one of you. Soulful Sessions with Rory is your safe space for introspection, inspiration, and maybe even a little revelation. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or winding down after a long day or just seeking a moment of connection, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's soulful exploration, I want to remind you that Soulful Sessions with Rory is designed for entertainment purposes only. While we may touch on profound topics and meaningful discussions, it's important to approach our conversation with an open heart and a sense of curiosity. Life is a journey, and so is this podcast. But remember, the insights we share here are not a substitute for professional advice or guidance. Always consult with the appropriate professionals regarding your unique circumstances. So whether you're a seasoned seeker or just dipping your toes into the waters of self-exploration, get ready for a blend of wisdom, laughter, and a touch of magic in each episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a soulful moment. Follow me on social media, on IG, Soulful Explorer, on Facebook, Listening Veteran Life Coach, and Snapchat, Rory Space Soulful Explorer with 2 L's to stay connected, share your thoughts, and be a part of this incredible community. Now let the journey begin. Sit back, relax, and let's feel our souls together. Well, beautiful souls, today's episode is how do you respond to tragedy when other people don't even see that it's a tragedy or they downplay your problems? See, because I'm going to tell you, for the last 30 days or so, life has definitely been lifing for me. And let's get right into how we deal with these problems that we have. You know, first and foremost, my tragedy is not your tragedy, or my problem is not your problem, and vice versa. Your problem isn't my problem. So what can happen sometimes, we can have all kinds of issues and problems that the people that are closest to us just don't understand. Not only do they not understand, but they don't care to understand. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we discussed the different level of problems. You know, there was a time, let's say in my early 20s, when I had what you call $30 problems. See, a $30 problem is when I need $30. I need $30 maybe to get some detergent, some food, or something just to get bus fare to go back and forth to work. That's a $30 problem. Now, in my young mind, that $30 was detrimental. It was life or death. That was a huge problem. So if I'm talking to an uncle or an older friend, a mature friend, who I say, man, you know, my life is really going through it right now. I don't have $30, you know, and I need this $30 to survive. And they looking at me like, you ain't got no problems. What do you mean I don't have any problems? I just told you I need $30. Well, that person may have had what I call a $100 problem. What's a $100 problem? Well, a $100 problem is where you need $300-400 to pay a bill. Something didn't go right, you know. Maybe your lights are about to get cut off. That's a $300-400 problem now. And so that $30, they got $30, but they don't have $300-400 because that's their problem. But they go to somebody else and say, man, you know, I'm struggling right now. You know, I need $300 to pay my phone bill, to pay my light bill. It's going to get cut off. And they looking like, what? Man, you tripping. $300, that's nothing. I got to get my air conditioner replaced. That's thousands of dollars. So I got $1,000 problems. You know, that's $8,500. That's $10,000. What are you talking about? You complaining over $300-400? Man, that ain't no problem. Something wrong with you. And then before you know it, then you got somebody else saying, so you got to pay $8,500. Whoop-de-doo. You know, that's not a problem. You know, my business is not doing so well right now. One of my trucks just crashed and I got to pay $40,000 to just get the tires replaced on my semis, or my business is going to fail. People are going to sue me. So now they got tens of thousands of dollar problems. Now, as you can see, I could go up and up and up, and we're just talking about money. See, it's easy to identify it with money because money is that thing that everybody seems to be able to relate to. So my $100 problem may not be your $30 problem. But see, what people aren't taking into effect, how does it really affect the person? How does it affect me? You know, I've had people talk about sexual traumas. I've had people talk about child abuse. I've had people talk about being homeless, being hungry. And even though they talk about these things, they have the mindset, well, if I can go through it, so can this person. This person is not you. We can't expect our loved ones, our family members, our children to act like we'll act in trauma. You know, I remember hearing people say, or let's be honest, I've said it, well, you know, my kids, if they went through half the stuff I went through, they would understand. They can't handle it. Because my tragedy is not their tragedy. So they shouldn't have to handle it. They shouldn't understand. But that doesn't make their problems any less. You know, I can remember somebody complaining about getting a bad grade in school. What? You're getting a bad grade? I'm trying to figure out where my next meal is coming from. You don't have any problems. That's so unfair. It's so unfair to treat somebody else's problem as if it's not that great because they're in a better position than you, so you think. It's so unfair to treat somebody's problem as insignificant because you don't understand. I have friends who make really, really good money. I mean, they make really good money. And they have nobody to talk to about their problems. Because there are people out here who believe that if you're doing well financially, you shouldn't have any problems. But let's look at some of these celebrities. They got all the money and they got more problems than a little bit. Now, I'm not saying people don't create their own problems. No. What I'm simply trying to say is that you can't tell somebody the extent of their problem or how they should feel about it. Now, how you feel about it should be your choice. Now, of course, you know, I'm going to always say that you control how you feel. And just because you have a problem doesn't mean that that problem has to control you. So remember that. What hurts you doesn't have to control you. Sound familiar? I know. So at times when we're sitting here and we're discussing with people our problems and they just seem not concerned, sometimes it's just because that person has their own problems. You know, I had a friend of mine, I guess you could say, disown me via friendship because in that moment, I didn't give them what they felt they need. As I went back to look at the relationship over the years, they never gave me what I needed. So there was no loss on my part, except for what I consider to be a friendship, all because that person felt that I didn't think that that I didn't come to their rescue or come to their aid or be the friend that they felt I should be, when in fact they never were the friend that I wanted them to be to me. Because any sacrifices that were made were sacrifices I made. But that's their problem. How they respond to it doesn't make it less important. How I respond to it doesn't make it less important, because it goes back to one of my sayings, which is your truth is your truth. So your problem is your problem. If you tell me, well, Rory, I'm going to lose my job and I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, my response is always going to be, okay, I'll pray for you. Now, I don't know the significance of your problem, and I can't tell you whether or not it's legitimate. The only thing I can do is either support you or don't. Now, if you tell me, Rory, my girlfriend broke up with me, my boyfriend broke up with me, and I'm emotionally distraught. Now, because I look at that differently, you know, to me, that's not a big problem. You know, replace them, get a new one. But that doesn't take away from it being your problem, because that can be a huge problem for you. But you have to remember, people do not have to think like you think. They don't have to feel like you feel. If you are a friend to someone, be a friend. So even if you think that the problem they're telling you about is ridiculous, or even if you think that that problem isn't a real problem, don't tell them that. Do not devalue that person's belief system because of your own selfish needs and wants. I can't stand well, I got problems too, ass person. Didn't nobody ask you about your problems, Barbara? So if you have a problem, when it's your turn, you talk about your problem. But until that time, I'm telling you about my problem. So don't devalue your friend's problems just because you can't relate, whether you think it's going up or going down. Which brings me to another thing about value. I don't need you to validate my problems. If I'm talking to you about my problems, know that you are a trusted friend, because I expect for you to listen and kind of shut the fuck up. That's what I need from you in that moment. I don't need you to tell me how to fix my problem. I don't need you to tell me what I should have done so I could avoid the problem. Sometimes I just want you to listen. Now, everyone isn't like me. Some people may want your advice. A lot of my friends that ask me and talk to me about their problems, they're looking for advice. I don't always give it, but I'll give it if they ask me. That was an oxymoron because I just said I wouldn't give it. So now, what happens when you do run into those people that just don't understand your problem? So for instance, let's say I'm depressed. I'm having a horrible day. And somebody says, well, Rory, what are you depressed about? You got a nice house. You got a nice car. You make good money. You're in a good relationship. Your children are well. What are you depressed about? What's wrong, buddy? Of course, I'm just using those things. I don't have any issues like that. Just thought I'll let you know. It shouldn't matter. If you have a friend who's feeling some kind of way and they just want to vent or just talk about it, give them the opportunity to vent and talk about it. But what if it's somebody who vents and talk about the same thing over and over again and you just don't want to hear it? They're talking about the same relationship, the same problems that they've been talking about over and over again, and you just don't want to hear it. Then be honest. Tell them that that's not something you want to talk about. You could tell them why or choose not to, but you don't owe them anything and they don't owe you anything. If you're a friend, just listen. If they ask you for advice that you've already given, give them the same advice and keep it moving. Sometimes people just want to be heard. Sometimes people just want validation. You don't have to explain your problem. So even if somebody does not understand your problem, it's okay. You have to learn to keep going no matter what they do or what they say. Because when I need somebody to hear me, that's what I pay a therapist for every 2 weeks. It just so happened I'm a therapist. There are some people who call me simply just to vent. They're not looking to fix the problem. They've accepted this way of life for whatever reason, and it's okay. When you experience tragedy, when you experience trauma, and you're trying to get past it, one of the best things to do is talk about it. Don't ignore it. Don't hold on to it for so long that it begins to eat you up inside because you don't think anybody would understand, or you feel like you're too embarrassed, or you feel like that someone's going to judge and critique you. First and foremost, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. This is your world. You have to wake up to you every day. They don't. Well, unless it's your spouse. Okay, unless it's your good spouse. You know, it might not be that person that's staying out all night. I don't know what's going on, but the point that I'm trying to make is that live for you. If you have people you trust and you want to share that information of what's bothering you or what's going on with you or what you think a problem is, you know, you can ask people to just listen. Hey, look, man, I'm going through something. I just need somebody to talk to. You know, in the last 30 days, I will tell you, I haven't put out an episode simply because life be lifing. You know, one of the things was that I was having problems with my central heating and air. So I couldn't do an episode in a hot house. I don't care what nobody says. I thought about going outside and doing something earthy, but I'm in a hot place. So that wasn't going to happen. And I don't know if you know this, but if you get really, really hot, man, you could get really, really grumpy. And that's exactly what happened. Life was just lifing. And, sometimes I needed to vent. Sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I was so excited and enthusiastic about doing things, and sometimes I wasn't. But for the most part, I wanted to shut down because I had problems. But here's the thing. When I talk to some people about my problems, they was like, man, you ain't got no problems. And these are people whose problems I listen to all the time. And then I understood it. Because my problems are not their problems, and their problems do not equate to my problems. It's not about more or less, it's more about understanding. My understanding in my life is clear, just like their understanding in their life is clear. So sometimes it's hard to relate to someone whose life you don't understand, especially when you believe they have everything that you desire. People can quickly say how ungrateful you are because you don't appreciate what you have because you're complaining about what you didn't, or you're complaining about the things that have happened in your life. That's called venting sometimes. And it's okay for people to do that. Now, it's not okay for them to sit in it day after day after day after day. I get that. But if it's just a one-time thing, a one-off, or even if it's a moment that they're going through, because sometimes things happen to you that you just don't understand. You can't fathom, especially if it involves a loved one. And they do something or say something that's so heinous and just so crazy to you that it takes you back, not just to what they said, but to what they've done to you over the years and the why. Why would this happen to me? Why would this person treat me like this? Why would they do that? It's okay to have problems, but it is not okay to live in the problems. Go get help. Go talk to a therapist. Go talk to a pastor. Go do something other than sit there and wallow in depression. Go exercise. Go for a walk. Go do some journaling. Write a book. Do something. Start a business. Occupy your mind. For everything that somebody said against you, you have to be your biggest cheerleader and motivator and say all the positive things for yourself. I am a firm believer in mantras. And if you don't know what a mantra is, just look it up in the dictionary. No, I'm just joking. It's kind of like a power statement for yourself. I am whole. I am healthy. I am beautiful. I am amazing. Every day is a new day for me to be a better version of me, and I am doing it. I am not my past. I am the future. I am success. I am all the things that God designed for me to be. I deserve all the things that I desire. Everything in my life is coming to the way that I want it to be. Gotta say some things like that to yourself every day. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. When you're looking for somebody else to tell you how to feel or tell you how to think, that can become a problem. So that goes back to when you have a problem and you need somebody else to understand why. That's your problem. Just like they don't have to understand it, they don't have to understand how you're going to resolve the feelings of the problem. I can't change relationships that I have with people if they refuse to change. So guess what? I'm not going to sit here and worry about that. Not that I don't care. It's that I cannot allow myself, keyword, allow myself to dwell on those things that I cannot change. And if you understand that about yourself, then you know how you should move. So don't be afraid to be you. More importantly, don't be afraid to tell someone, I don't think you understand my problem, and it's okay. Let's not discuss this. Or more importantly, Just because you don't think that I have a problem does not constitute a reality for me. My truth is my truth. Now, I don't want to live in this moment, but I trusted you enough to vent so I can release. Can you be that for me? Can you be my release? And if they can't, it's okay. See, some people only know how to share their problems, and they don't want to listen to your problems because they look for you to make them feel better. It's up to you to decide if you're going to allow that kind of relationship. Most of the people I know are one-sided. I can listen to them, offer advice, and do all these things, but the minute that I start talking and trying to share what's going on with me, it's unimportant. That doesn't bother me. Because guess what? I also understand what my role is in different people's lives, as you should too. So your problem is your problem. People don't have to understand your tragedy. They don't have to live in your moment. That's up to you. So what I will tell you is to continue to be your biggest cheerleader. When you feel like you need to vent, let the friend know that you're close to, and then vent. And when they start interjecting with questions, and just listen to me sometimes. I don't want you to ask questions just yet. Let me just get it out. Everything will work out the way it's supposed to. You just have to believe. Your faith has to be stronger than someone else's words. Remove the doubt. Remove the stress. Allow yourself to be whole, healthy, and healed. I appreciate you coming to take this time with me. I'm going to do my best to not allow life's lifing episodes to keep me from reaching out to you guys again. Now, what I would like for you to do that's different is I want you to send me a question to rory.carruthers@Soulful Sessions or support@soulfulsessions.com. I'll put the email address on here, and you can send me questions, or you can hit me up on Instagram at Soulful Explorer or the Listening Veteran. Also, if you subscribe to this YouTube channel, there's a link that can take you to the website to send an email. But I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to speaking to you again.